5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff. Go Falcon, go GPS. Somebody propulsion is nominal.
Plus 40 seconds, we've heard call-outs, and now we're entering the throttle bucket. We're powering down the Merlin engines to relieve the acceleration as we get ready for the period of maximum dynamic pressure. We're in the throttle bucket, now we're beginning to power back up. The bottom of the throttle bucket is we hear the call-out exiting throttle bucket. The 9 Merlin 1D engines going on the Merlin engines coming back up to full power. And we are now supersonic. Ready to go supersonic.
Equal as supersonic.
Supersonic, we're coming through the period of maximum dynamic pressure.
Well, has reached maximum aerodynamic Max Q.
Guidance engineer calls out Max Q, the period of maximum dynamic pressure, or Q, on the vehicle. From this point forward, although we go faster and faster, the thinner atmosphere will put less loads on the airframe of the rocket. Coming up next is chill-in of the upper stage engine.
Chill has started.
An announcement from stage 2. We've got a good trajectory. We're now beginning to chill in the turbo. We've begun the chill-in of the upper stage engine. Its ignition coming up at power on the Merlin 1D engines looks good. Avionics reports everything is nominal. From the SpaceX cameras at Cape Canaveral as we head east out of Space Launch Complex 40 into the first of 2 orbits. We're T plus 2 minutes into flight. Next major activity in half a minute. Shutdown of the 9 Merlin engines. Separate the first and second stage and ignite the second stage engine to carry GPS and the second stage into the first of 2 orbits today. This one will be the initial parking orbit. Cutoff, or MECO, coming up in several seconds, followed by pneumatic separation. The first stage pushes away from the second stage and ignition of the second stage engine. Falcon 9 preparing for MECO.
And MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
MECO.
MECO on time. Stage sep looks good. And we've confirmed ignition of the second stage engine after a good stage 1, stage 2 sep. You can see briefly the Falcon 9 first stage in the background. Now slowly opening.
Both vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
As we roll out that both vehicles are following the planned trajectory. First stage continuing to coast to apogee, where it'll then slowly turn around and descend back to the drone ship for landing in the Atlantic Ocean. The second stage engine beginning the long burn to get it into the parking orbit.
Acquisition of signal, Maryland.
Coming up, fairing deployed. Great views coming from space. Waiting to see the camera switch forward. Coming up on fairing deployed.
Separation confirmed.
And we've got fairing separation. The 2 halves of the Falcon 9 fairing separating, the pneumatic system unlatching the locks that hold it together, and then the pneumatic pushers separating the 2 halves. As the fairing falls away from the vehicle, we can see on the left side of the screen the grid fins, the large titanium castings that are mounted to the first stage have deployed. They'll be used later as we come back into the atmosphere for precision guidance of the first stage to land on the drone ship. On the right-hand side, we see the second stage engine continuing to burn. It's at full power. Everything's looking good with the trajectory. So at just past T plus 4 minutes into flight, everything is go on the flight of Falcon 9 with GPS 3, space vehicle number 3. And 13 seconds.
For those of you just joining us, we had a successful liftoff of our Falcon 9 rocket at 5:30
Plus 4 minutes and 25 seconds
time,
into flight. We're currently in the first of 2 planned Merlin vacuum engine burns. Currently looking at the data, the second stage engine burn is nominal. On your left-hand screen, you can see the first stage as it's performing that reorientation that John and I talked about. The grid
out in the
fins are
Atlantic
deployed,
Ocean.
and you're seeing
The
some,
next
some
milestones coming
thruster
up include
plumes
that
there
first
from the
stage's
attitude
entry
control
burn,
system
followed by the
that are
second
getting it
stage
ready
engine
so
cutoff
that
on a
the
Seco
9
1,
Merlin 1D
the first
engines are
stage
pointed
landing
towards
burn,
the
and
atmosphere
then that
as it
hopeful
re-enters into
The entry burn
Earth's,
will occur at
Earth's
about
atmosphere.
6.5
Beautiful
minutes
views of the planet beneath both the first stage and the second stage. Second stage is continuing into its
And
burn.
what you don't
We're
see
expecting this
pictured
burn
here
to
are the
vehicles
last
two fairing
continue to
halves.
follow
They've been
nominal
jettisoned.
5 minutes and
It'll
15
take some time for them
seconds.
to get down to sea level.
An entry
So we
burn
won't be
will actually
covering,
begin
on the
on the
webcast
first stage
that
in
recovery
just about a
status,
minute
but
from
stay
now.
tuned on social media for updates.
During the entry burn, we'll ignite 3 of the Merlin 1D engines on the first stage. That'll give us
Acquisition
a chance to
signal
slow down the stage as it ends up
See some
re-entering the
pretty
Earth's
clear
atmosphere
pictures
and
of Earth there.
reduce the aerodynamic
The
load
first stage
as
has
it
reached
starts to
apogee.
bite
It's
into the
beginning to
thicker
head down
parts
there.
of the air
We're
around
only
our
going to
planet.
be firing 3 of our Merlin engines during this entry burn. In order to
You can see
slow
the
vehicle
Merlin
down before it hits the
vacuum
thicker parts
engine
of
on your
Earth's
right-hand
atmosphere.
screen.
It'll slow the vehicle
The
by about
nozzle extension there growing
25%.
red hot. That's
When we
expected.
perform stage separation,
We're really we have such a long nozzle extension on there to try to get the most performance out of the pressure coming out of the thrust chamber on the second stage engine.
It's going to last about 20
Coming up here in about 15 seconds is entry burn. Watch for that on your left-hand screen. That'll ignite 3 of the Merlin 1D engines, while second stage continues to burn towards that elliptical orbit with the GPS vehicle on board.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
We're 10 seconds away from entry burn. Hopefully we'll be able to hear that call out and have visual confirmation that burn's begun.
Stage 1, entry burn started.
There's successful ignition of the 3 Merlin 1D engines on the first stage. We're expecting this burn to last just about 30 seconds.
You'll see that the exhaust there will grow and start to become elliptical as we turn on the engines. The center engine fires first, the 2 side engines fire shortly after that. So that exhaust will seem to grow during this burn.
Stage 1, entry burn, shutdown.
Stage 1, entry burn, shutdown.
You see some bursts there.
Down,
Successful shutdown of the engine and some attitude control bursts just to get that orientation right. Now, once we get into the thicker parts of the atmosphere where those grid fins have some aerodynamic control authority, they will do most of the guiding to take the first stage towards our drone ship, named Just Read the Instructions, which is about 350 nautical miles off the east coast of Florida.
About 25 seconds after Seco 1, touchdown,
coming up at
on our drone ship,
about
just read the instructions.
50 seconds from now, we'll have 2 events happening about the same time. The first stage will ignite its single center Merlin 1D engine for landing burn. About the same time, the second stage will perform secondary engine cutoff, or SECO number 1.
That landing burn will take us back to get that last 20%.
While those 2 things occur about 25 seconds later, the first stage will hopefully touch down on our drone ship in between there deploying its landing legs. So watch for that on your left-hand screen.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Just under 10 seconds from landing burn and Seco 1.
Drone ship, AOS.
Seco.
Stage 1, landing burn is starting.
Ignition of that center
Stage 1, landing
Merlin
burn,
engine
startup.
on the first stage.
Confirmation of both landing burn and Seco
Successful
1.
confirmation
Waiting
of
confirmation
shutdown
of
of
good
the
orbital insertion.
Merlin vacuum engine. The guidance engineer is evaluating the orbit of the second stage now.
Nominal parking orbit.
Stage 1,
Parking orbit, that's
landing legs
exactly what we want to hear.
Deploying now.
Landing leg deployment looks like right down the center.
And
Looks
stage
like
1
this is a landing.
Successful
You
landing
see
of
a first
Falcon
stage.
9.
Excellent.
Drone ship just read the instructions.
So that's,
While we're watching that landing, we also had
we first flew
confirmation
Falcon
of
9
nominal
10 years
orbit
ago,
insertion.
actually this month.
We're all pretty excited
Since
over
then,
here
it's
at
completed
SpaceX for
88
being able to
missions.
use this
Now the
first
most
stage
flown
for a third time
operational
coming
rocket
up.
in the United States.
But
This
going back to our
mission
primary mission on the
completed
second
its first
stage,
landing, and
it's going
hopefully
to
we'll
coast
have
for about
many
18
more to
minutes
come.
until we cross the equator,
The
where we perform the second of 2 burns
now
of the
we're
upper
actually going to
stage,
enter
help
into
change the orbit.
our first
We're going to
coast
take a break
phase
until
now
then.
that we know that
We're
the
going to leave you with
second
a map
stage is in
where
a
we are in the
successful
mission.
parking
We'll be
orbit.
back at
That coast phase will last
26
about
minutes
54
for the
minutes,
second burn of our
and we'll
MVAC.
end with our second stage relight at about T+1 hour and 3 minutes. We're going to come back shortly before that to cover the second engine start number 2. Now, as we had mentioned earlier, today's mission is dedicated by the Space Force to the memory of Colonel Thomas Falzerano, commander of the 21st Space Wing at Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado. As a leader of the Air Force's 5th largest wing, he commanded a workforce of approximately 4,300 space professionals worldwide. We'll now hear from General Raymond and a number of Colonel Falzerano's colleagues in the Air Force and Space Force about the impact he had on all those he worked with.
I can think of no better way to honor Colonel Tom Falzerano